John. John's been holding longer than I think anybody has ever held in their whole life. And John, because you've done that, I'm going to send you a leather-bound Every Man's Bible, okay?
Thank you very much.
Not from our store, but from me personally. Out of my collection, I'm sending you one because you held on so long.
I feel privileged. Thank you very much.
All right. How could we help you today?
I'll give you a quick background. I've been married 17 years. I have 2 kids, 2 boys, 13 and 15. My wife recently asked me for a divorce. She says she doesn't feel loved by me.
She doesn't feel loved by you. Now, does she say she doesn't feel love for you?
No. She came from an abused home. She grew up in an alcoholic abused home, and I think she's wounded. You know, she has wounds from her childhood, and I think she is still, stuck in that. And I think she's very, hypersensitive to situations. I mean, I'll give you a couple examples. She got really upset with me because I gave a couple kids a couple dollars. I was standing in a concession line, and she told me I was wrong and I needed to admit it. Things like that. And recently, my family invited her family to Thanksgiving, and they booked a restaurant and didn't really check with my wife, so that hurt her, and she got upset. And it's just kind of, this is years and years of all kinds of situations.
Well, what's your question for us then?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I don't want to get divorced. I'm a believer. She's not. I'm kind of a new believer. She won't have anything to I think she's angry with God. My question is, what should I say, or what should I do? I don't want to get divorced, but
okay. How new a believer are you? How new a believer are you?
A couple of years.
Couple of years. Now here you are. You're growing closer to the Lord, and then that precipitates a big change in her. Now, is there any kind of thing she resents you looking good, or do you ever preach at her, or just things like that might happen from a new believer?
No, in the beginning I was excited to share things with her.
Sure.
And she did seem very defensive. She got, she kind of shut down and got defensive about it, so I kind of backed off. So that, I didn't want to push that. I wanted to slowly lead, kind of lead by example, that type of thing.
Right.
What do you think your part's been in the marriage, John? Usually when wives get to a point where they're ready to file, there's usually doesn't just happen. There's usually long time. So
going on.
What
we've had struggles through the 17 years, and
what's your
always
part?
Been terrified of divorce. I've kind of stuck it out. She's got anger problems.
Okay, Sherry's asking you, what is your part?
My part. What my part is supposed to be, or what I think I've done?
No, what have you done? What was your part in the problem?
What have you done to hurt the marriage?
Well, I think I do hold resentments towards my wife and her anger, and I feel like I have to walk on eggshells. I'm afraid to, anger her or set her off. So I think I hold resentments because I can't. I can't express myself the way I want to talk to her. I want to tell her how I feel, but it's almost like she's self-centered, like it's all her feelings.
All right. What is the specific question we could answer for you?
Well, what can I say to her? I told her I didn't want to get divorced. What can I do about the whole divorce thing? Should I let it happen if she really wants it to happen, or should I?
Well, John, I would kind of take a different angle here at this point, because I'm with what you just told me, that you have to kind of walk on eggshells and it's hard for you to express yourself. I actually think that's part of the problem, is that she hasn't felt you show up in the relationship. She's been frustrated because you have been too much of a pleaser. Too much trying to walk around and not get her upset, and I think at some level she's probably lost some respect for you in that.
You kind of cease to be a person.
Yeah.
when you're walking on the eggshells, and you're
Right.
doing it for the right reason. You really want to keep the relationship together, but it has kind of the opposite effect.
Right.
It
Yeah,
creates.
I wanted to, keep the peace. I know I'm not supposed to keep it. I'm supposed to
Well,
make
but what it does though is it creates a pattern of avoidance, John, where you really don't lean into her and her emotions and her real feelings, and it causes you to sort of skip over those or minimize or dance around them. So she feels like you really don't love her. Remember, that was the first thing you said when you came on the air. My wife
Right.
says she doesn't feel loved by me. And this pattern of avoidance that Sherry's pointing out and Steve's pointing out is all about you withdrawing from her.
Right, but I sometimes if I don't agree with a certain complaint, I mean, if
the-
she's
I-
got a
I- no,
complaint, it doesn't
okay.
seem
I'm not talking about a certain complaint. You're right. She might be hypersensitive. She might be what we call the vacillator, the ambivalently attached person, which is very hypersensitive about people rejecting them or doing something favorable for somebody else but not for them. They get their feelings hurt very easily and they remember all these things, et cetera, et cetera. But what you need to do is lean into her pain. Like, tell me, what did you feel, honey, when I gave these two kids some money? What did you feel? Instead of trying to talk your way out of it, you lean into her and you say, "Well, that's an interesting response you had. What caused that to be so problematic to you?" You see.
Yeah, I have a hard time communicating with her because
I
she
know,
gets so,
and so
she
that's
gets
why
angry, and then
that's.
I get defensive and back off.
I know, and
"Oh,
every time you back off, she's going to say, "Well, you can't contain me," and that's what Sherry is essentially saying, that you're helping to perpetuate this problem.
Right. So I think the issue isn't really about divorce. I mean, I know she filed, but it's like you've made the call. I think the divorce was the wake-up call. Her filing is the wake-up call, but you need to get some help.
Yeah, the question
I mean,
that you
we've been
asked.
through counsel. We've
Well,
done-
wait a
we've
second.
done
Hold on.
extensive-
Wait a second.
Sorry.
The question that you asked was, what do I say to her? And I don't think that's the question you need to be asking. The question needs to be, what can I do to show her I'm willing to take care of all the problems that are on my side of the fence? It's not about the two of you getting counseling together. It's about you getting some counseling, meeting with a pastor, joining a men's group, going to men's Bible studies. She looks at all the things you're doing, and she said, wow, I'm walking out on a man that's doing all those things to pursue me, versus I'm walking out on a man who's still talking.
Right.
Well,
I- I also-
it's like you're
a couple
withdrawing.
things I forgot to mention that she abuses marijuana. She smokes marijuana throughout the whole marriage, and that's always been a resentment. And I've gone to Al-Anon because her father was an alcoholic, so I've been going to Al-Anon to try to
That's good.
get some healthiness in the family. And
John,
she
do you know
resents
why?
that too.
John, have you ever asked her, just like I said earlier, do you ever ask her why she smokes marijuana?
Yes, I have.
And what'd she
said
say?
It calms her. It keeps her calm.
Correct. So what you have is a highly anxious little girl inside, and she uses marijuana to self-medicate. Okay, so she's looking for someone that can help contain that wild little girl. And if you just dance around, walk on eggshells, sort of tap dance around what's going on, you're not direct. Nobody's really containing this little girl.
Mhm.
To sit down and say, I see you, I see the anxious little girl that's scared to death. And I want you to know I'm not going to walk away from her anymore. I'm going to sit down. Every time you get angry, I'm going to ask you first, what scared you first? What hurt you first? And I'm going to wait, and I'm going to let you just take a breath, and then I'm going to listen. I'm going to sit there until you tell me what hurt or scared you. And you start doing that, I guarantee you that'll make a big difference in your relationship. She might protest and resist at first, but that's pretty irresistible.
Yeah, because she's not going to trust it at first.
No.
But she will eventually come around when she knows that you're fighting for her. If you walk away right now, you're doing exactly what you've done in your marriage, is you're throwing your hands up. And she wants you to come for her, even though she's filing. That's what a vacillator wants.
You see her smoke from the joint. You got to see what's burning in her heart, what's hurting her from the childhood. And I think men, if there was anything I could say we need to do more of and that we really don't get, it's we're married to little girls. And for one person, the little girl part is this big, and others that little girl part is this big, and for one person it was hurt this much, and
Mhm.
another person it's hurt that much. You need to find out what that little girl inside of her is like, and then sometimes you need to minister to that little girl.
Yeah.
In the way it didn't happen.
Yeah. What would you do if it was a 7-year-old who was saying, "I'm so scared, I can't stand it, Daddy"?
Yeah.
What would you do? Well,
Yeah.
you'd pull her on your lap. You'd say, "I'm not going to leave you.
Right.
Mhm.
It's okay."
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to send. I'll send How We Love. That's a
That would
book
be a
that
good
would
book
help
for
him
them.
a great deal. And
And John's going to need a tribe around him. He's going to need some men to kind of support him as
True.
he
that is true.
pursues her.
But you've gone ahead and you said he's a pleaser, and you've gone ahead and you've said she's probably the vacillator. So if you only, John, just read the pleaser vacillator and the pleaser vacillator combo, just read 3 chapters and ask her to read them, and ask her what she thinks of those
Yep.
3 chapters.
Yep.
Yep.
May give her
it's
some
a good-
insight she never
It's
knew.
a good opening place.
And
Yep.
you too.